The reckoning dawned. The bridge of the ESS Harbinger fell silent as Captain Alina Reyes studied the holographic display. 17 human colonies lost in 6 months. Billions dead. The Xilari Confederation had struck with ruthless efficiency, their biotechnology overwhelming humanity's defenses one system at a time. "Status report," she demanded, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. Commander Jackson Zhao, her executive officer, stepped forward. His normally immaculate uniform bore the signs of 3 days without rest. Wrinkled sleeves, a coffee stain near the collar. "The Proxima Centauri evacuation is complete, Captain. Last civilian transports jumped to the Arcturus rally point 20 minutes ago." Elena nodded, the weight of command pressing down on her shoulders. At 42, she had never imagined becoming humanity's last hope. The Harbinger wasn't supposed to be deployed yet. Its experimental void core drive and quantum weaponry were still classified as highly unstable, but desperate times had forced Earth Command's hand. "And New Geneva?" she asked, knowing the answer but needing to hear it. Zhao's eyes fell. "Gone, Captain." The Xilari broadcasting footage of the cleansing across all channels. Their supreme arbiter is calling it necessary sterilization of the human infection. The bridge crew flinched collectively. New Geneva had been home to 16 million people just yesterday. Elena's fist clenched at her side. 6 years ago, when humanity had first encountered the Xilari, they'd presented themselves as enlightened guardians of galactic order. Their sleek, organic ships and crystalline cities had dazzled Earth's ambassadors. Their offers of technological exchange had seemed generous, their concerns about humanity's aggressive expansion reasonable. All eyes. "Dr. Okafor," Elena called to the science station. "What's the status of Project Prometheus?" Dr. Amara Okafor, the brilliant physicist who had discovered the principles behind the void core, looked up from her console. Dark circles ringed her eyes, but determination burned within them. "Final calibrations complete, Captain. The weapon is ready. As ready as it can be." "You still have reservations," Elena stated. "The simulations show a 78% probability of success," Okafor replied carefully. "But we've never deployed this technology in actual combat. The energy requirements are." "I'm aware of the risks, Doctor," Elena cut in. "We're out of alternatives." Lieutenant Kai Chen, at Tactical, cleared his throat. "Captain, long-range sensors detecting Xilari signatures approaching the Terra Nova colony. 6 dreadnoughts, at least 20 support vessels." Elena's jaw tightened. Terra Nova, humanity's oldest and most populous extrasolar colony. Home to 30 million souls. "They're broadcasting their ultimatum," Communications Officer River reported, her voice trembling slightly. "Standard terms: immediate surrender and submission to biological restructuring, or complete planetary purification. The Xilari version of mercy, a process that rewrote human DNA, transforming people into docile servants without free will or independent thought. A fate worse than death in Elena's estimation." "Plot intercept course to Terra Nova," Elena ordered. "Maximum velocity." Navigation Officer Lieutenant Park's fingers flew across his console. "Intercept in 47 minutes at maximum burn, Captain. Notify engineering to prepare the void core for combat deployment." Elena continued, her voice steady despite the stakes. "All hands to battle stations." As the klaxons blared and the crew rushed to their combat positions, Elena stepped closer to the main viewport. Stars streaked by as the Harbinger accelerated, its revolutionary drive pushing the laws of physics to their breaking point. The Xilari had never encountered the Harbinger before. They knew nothing of Project Prometheus or the terrible weapon humanity had created in desperation. How could they? The technology had been developed in secret on a hidden base deep within Neptune's atmosphere, far from prying eyes. "Captain," Joe said quietly, coming to stand beside her. "Earth Command is requesting confirmation of your intentions." Elena's lips curved into a grim smile. "Tell them we're implementing Protocol Omega." Zhao paled. "Are you sure?" Humanity tried diplomacy. We tried limited military response. We tried everything short of this. Elena turned to face her XO, her eyes hard as flint. They've left us no choice. The journey to Terra Nova passed in tense silence. Crew members checked and rechecked systems, weapons were brought to full readiness, and Dr. Okafor ran continuous diagnostics on the void core. The experimental drive hummed with barely contained power, filling the ship with a subtle vibration that set teeth on edge and raised the hairs on the back of the neck. Dropping out of FTL in 30 seconds, Park announced. Elena returned to her command chair. Tactical status of Silari forces. Formation unchanged, Captain, Chen replied. They've begun bombardment of the northern continent. Civilian casualties, significant. Shields at maximum. Bring all conventional weapons systems online. Elena leaned forward. And ready the Prometheus device. A harbinger tore through the fabric of space, emerging into the Terra Nova system like an avenging angel. On the main view screen, the blue-green jewel of humanity's prized colony glowed, marred by angry red wounds where Xilari weapons had struck. Orbiting the planet were the sleek, organic forms of Xilari vessels, not constructed but grown, their hulls composed of a crystalline metallic hybrid material that seemed almost alive, beautiful and deadly. They've detected us, Chen reported. Xilari vessels breaking bombardment pattern and moving to intercept. We're being scanned extensively. Let them look, Elena said coldly. They won't understand what they're seeing until it's too late. The largest Xilari vessel, a massive dreadnought nearly 3 times the Harbinger's size, broadcast on all frequencies. The main screen filled with the image of Arbiter Zexkalon, the Xilari commander responsible for the destruction of 7 human colonies. Human vessel, the alien said, its 4 eyes blinking in their unsettling pattern, tentacular mouthparts moving with precision. Your arrival is fortuitous. You will witness the cleansing of another infestation before submitting to judgment. Elena rose from her chair, facing the creature that had ordered the deaths of billions. This ends today, Arbiter. The Xilari's head tilted in what passed for amusement among its kind. Your species' defiance, while biologically interesting, has become tiresome. 1 ship against our armada. What do you hope to accomplish? Dr. Okafor, Elena said without taking her eyes from the screen. Activate Prometheus. Across the bridge, the scientist's fingers danced across her console. Void core transitioning to offensive configuration. Prometheus powering up. The Harbinger shuddered as energy from the ship's revolutionary drive was channeled into the weapon systems. Warning lights flashed across multiple stations. Hull stress exceeding design parameters, engineering reported. Containment fields at 87% and dropping. On screen, the Arbiter's expression shifted from smugness to confusion as its sensors detected the massive energy buildup within the human vessel. What is this? What weapon are you? You should have left us alone, Elena said simply. Humanity wanted peace. She nodded to Chen. Fire. The Prometheus device activated, and reality itself seemed to scream in protest. From the Harbinger's prow erupted not a beam or projectile, but a perfect sphere of absolute darkness. It expanded outward, growing from the size of a basketball to 100 meters in diameter within seconds. The nearest Xilari ships attempted to evade, engines flaring as they recognized an unknown threat. They were too slow. As the void touched the first vessel, the alien ship didn't explode or break apart. It simply ceased to exist, converted entirely to energy that was instantly absorbed by the expanding sphere. My God, someone whispered on the bridge. One by one, the Xilari ships vanished, each one feeding the Prometheus device, making it stronger, larger. The colossal dreadnought lasted only seconds longer than its smaller companions, its advanced shields meaningless against a weapon that didn't so much destroy matter as completely remove it from existence. Void collapse in 10 seconds, Okafor called out, her voice strained. Brace for gravitational shockwave. The darkness imploded, collapsing back in on itself with devastating force. A pulse of gravitational energy rippled outward, rocking the Harbinger violently despite its distance and advanced inertial dampeners. When the sensors cleared, not a single Xilari vessel remained. Where a mighty fleet had stood moments before, there was only empty space and a scattering of subatomic particles. Silence fell over the bridge, broken only by the beeping of consoles and the labored breathing of the crew. They had just witnessed and executed the most devastating weapon ever deployed by human hands. "Damage report," Elena finally said, her voice unnaturally calm. "Minor structural damage to forward sections," Zhao replied after a moment. "Void core stable but operating at reduced efficiency. Prometheus device offline. Cooldown cycle initiated." Elena nodded, then turned to communications. "Open a channel to Terra Nova Control and notify Earth Command of our success." As Rivera complied, Dr. Okafor approached the captain, her face troubled. "Captain, the readings I collected during deployment. The Prometheus didn't just destroy the Xilari ships. There's no way to say this scientifically. It consumed them." "Explain," Elena demanded. "The void we created temporarily connected to somewhere else. Another dimension, perhaps. The matter it touched wasn't just converted to energy. It was transferred. And something came back." Okafor hesitated. "Something microscopic but detectable in our sensors. In the Xilari debris field." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. "Are we at risk?" "I don't believe so. Whatever it is, it seems dormant. But I need to study it further." Before Elena could respond, Rivera called out, "Captain, I'm receiving transmissions from across Xilari space. Massive energy signatures consistent with void core technology activating simultaneously in over 30 systems." "That's impossible," Zhao whispered. "The Prometheus is classified beyond top secret. They couldn't have." "On screen," Elena ordered, her mind racing. The main display switched to a galactic map, showing dozens of flashing points throughout Xilari territory. Each pulse signified an energy release similar to what the Harbinger had just unleashed. "Those are Xilari worlds," Chen said in horror. "They're core worlds." As they watched, the energy signatures peaked, then disappeared entirely, along with all standard indicators of civilization. Entire planets going dark in an instant. "What have we done?" Zhao asked, his face ashen. Elena stared at the screen, a terrible understanding dawning. "We didn't just deploy a new weapon today. We woke something up." She turned to Okafor. "Doctor, I need answers. What exactly was in that debris field?" Okafor's eyes were wide with scientific horror and wonder. "DNA fragments, but not Xilari. At least, not entirely. Their genome has been altered, engineered." "By whom?" Elena demanded. "That's just it, Captain." Okafor looked up from her readings, her voice barely above a whisper. "The marker sequences, they're human. Ashes of redemption." 30 days after the Terra Nova incident, Captain Elena Reyes stood in the secure briefing room deep within Earth's lunar military headquarters. The holographic displays surrounding her showed the devastation. 27 Xilari worlds rendered uninhabitable, their populations seemingly vanished overnight. Billions of lives gone. The diplomatic consequences have been complicated, Admiral Wei Chen explained to the assembled military leadership and scientific advisors. At 63, the admiral carried himself with the bearing of someone who had seen too much war. The remaining galactic powers are divided. The Arkan Republic has suspended all contact with Earth, while the Novan Collective has actually extended an offer of military alliance. "They're afraid," Elena said quietly. "They think we've developed a super weapon capable of destroying entire civilizations at will. Haven't we?" General Santos asked from across the table. All eyes turned to Dr. Okafor, who had barely left her laboratory in the past month. The physicist looked exhausted, her normally immaculate appearance disheveled from endless hours of analysis. "No," she said firmly. "What happened after Terra Nova wasn't our doing. At least, not directly." She activated her own holographic display, showing complex molecular structures. What we found in the debris field after the first Prometheus deployment was unlike anything we've encountered before. The closest analog would be a quantum virus, but even that doesn't fully describe it. "And you're saying this virus has human DNA markers?" Admiral Way's skepticism was evident. "Yes and no," Okafor replied. "The base structure appears engineered using principles similar to human genetic modification techniques we developed only in the last century. But they've been evolved, advanced far beyond our current capabilities." Elena leaned forward. "You're suggesting time travel?" Okafor shook her head. "Something more disturbing. I believe we're looking at technology from an alternate timeline, a version of humanity that evolved differently, perhaps more aggressively." She paused. "The Void Core doesn't just bend space. It punches through dimensional barriers. When we deployed Prometheus, we created a bridge." "A bridge to what?" General Santos demanded. "To them," Elena realized, the pieces finally clicking into place. "Our counterparts." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "The Xilari knew," Elena continued, the realization growing stronger. "That's why they attacked us so ruthlessly, why they were so determined to either control us or wipe us out. They recognized something in our genetic structure, some potential that frightened them." "Captain Rise is correct," came a new voice. All heads turned toward the entrance, where a tall, slender alien stood flanked by security officers. It was a Doth Ray, one of the reclusive scholars from the Galactic Rim, rarely seen in human space. Admiral Way rose. "Ambassador Thal, thank you for agreeing to this meeting." The Doth Ray inclined its elongated head. "The circumstances demand unprecedented cooperation." Its multifaceted eyes swept the room, lingering on Elena. "Captain Rise, your actions have precipitated a crisis foretold in our most ancient records." "What do you mean?" Elena asked. Ambassador Thal activated the small device, projecting ancient symbols into the air. 12,000 of your years ago, a great civilization spanned this galactic arm. The predecessors, advanced beyond anything we know today. They encountered an enemy they called the Void Shapers, beings with the power to unravel reality itself. The ambassador's projection changed, showing a familiar spherical darkness. "This weapon you have created, we have seen it before." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. The predecessors fought beings from another dimension. Beings like us. "Not like you," Thal corrected. "You, or rather, what you might become. The predecessors' records speak of humans, though they called you by another name, wielding the power of unmaking." "That's impossible," General Santos protested. "Humanity evolved on Earth. We've only been a spacefaring species for 3 centuries. Time is not always linear," General Thal replied, "particularly when the barriers between dimensions are concerned." The alien turned to Dr. Okafor. "Your Void Core technology resonates with patterns described in our ancient texts. It creates instabilities that weaken the walls between realities." "And the Xilari?" Elena asked. "Where do they fit in?" "They were the designated guardians," Thal explained. "After the predecessors vanished, the Xilari were genetically modified to recognize and eliminate the threat before it could mature. They have been culling potential human civilizations across multiple timelines for millennia." The revelation hit Elena like a physical blow. They weren't invaders. They were trying to save the multiverse from us. "From what you might become," Thal corrected again. "The choice remains yours." 3 days later, the Harbinger prepared for its final mission. The ship had been retrofitted, its Void Core modified according to Dr. Okafor's new calculations and insights from the Dothray archives. All personnel not essential to the mission have been evacuated, Commander Zhao reported as Elena entered the bridge. "The payload is secure in the main bay." Elena nodded, taking her place in the command chair. The bridge crew was skeletal, just enough to pilot the ship to its destination. All volunteers, all aware they might not return. "Captain," Dr. Okafor called from her station, "I've completed the final adjustments to the dimensional stabilizers. They should prevent further incursions while we complete our mission." "Should?" Zhao asked. Okafor offered a tight smile. "This goes beyond theoretical physics, Commander. We're writing new laws of quantum mechanics as we go." Elena activated the ship-wide communication system. "All hands, secure for departure. We launch in 5 minutes." As the countdown progressed, Elena found her thoughts drifting to the billions who had died, both human and Silari, casualties in a war that transcended dimensions and perhaps even time itself. The remaining Silari forces had withdrawn to their surviving worlds, maintaining an uneasy ceasefire as humanity and the other galactic powers grappled with the truth. "Captain," Zhao said quietly, interrupting her thoughts, "are we doing the right thing?" Elena considered the question carefully. The easy path would be to use this technology to become the very power that Silari feared. We could dominate the galaxy within a year. She shook her head. "But that path leads to becoming those other versions of ourselves. I won't let humanity be defined by what we can destroy." The Harbinger departed Earth orbit, accelerating toward the coordinates provided by Ambassador Thal, a remote star system at the edge of the galactic disk, far from any inhabited worlds. Approaching the target zone, Park announced after several hours of silent travel. No sign of Silari activity. "They're watching," Elena said with certainty. "Begin final approach. Dr. Okafor, prepare the package." The ship slowed as it entered a debris field, the remnants of a shattered planet that had once orbited the ancient red dwarf star. According to Thal, this had been the homeworld of the predecessors, destroyed in their final stand against the Void Shapers. "Energy readings are consistent with the ambassador's specifications," Okafor reported. "This is definitely the place where dimensional barriers are thinnest." Elena stood. "Deploy the payload." From the Harbinger's launch bay, a specially designed probe emerged, carrying a modified version of the Prometheus device. Unlike the weapon they had used at Terra Nova, this version was programmed not to destroy, but to heal, to seal the breach between dimensions that humanity had unwittingly widened. "Payload away," Zhao confirmed. "Activation in 3, 2, 1. The device detonated, but instead of the sphere of darkness they had witnessed before, a pulse of brilliant blue-white energy expanded outward, washing over the debris field and the Harbinger itself. The ship shuddered as the wave passed through it. "Status," Elena demanded. "Hull integrity holding," engineering reported. "Dimensional stabilizers operating at 143% of projected capacity but holding." On the main view screen, reality itself seemed to ripple, as though the fabric of space-time was being sewn back together. Fractal patterns of energy danced across the stars, beautiful and terrifying in their complexity. "It's working," Okafor whispered, staring at her readings in awe. "The quantum resonance is harmonizing. The breach is closing." A new alert sounded from Tactical. "Captain, multiple contacts appearing. Hilary signatures." Elena tensed. "Defensive posture. Ready all conventional weapons, but hold fire unless fired upon." 3 Silari vessels emerged from the swirling energies, sleek, organic ships that took up positions surrounding the Harbinger. For several tense moments, no one moved. Then, a communication request. "On screen," Elena ordered. The view screen flickered, revealing not the expected Silari arbiter, but a being that resembled a human, yet not quite. Its skin had an opalescent quality, its eyes containing galaxies of stars. "Captain Elena Reyes," the being said, its voice resonating strangely. "You have surprised us." Elena straightened. "Who are you?" "I am what you might have become," the entity replied. "What we became in countless other timelines. The ones you call Void Shapers." The bridge crew exchanged alarmed glances, but Elena maintained her composure. "You're human." We were, once, before we transcended, before we learned to bend reality to our will. The entity's expression was unreadable. The Silari were right to fear your potential. In most timelines, humanity discovers the void and embraces its power, becoming like us, beings beyond morality, beyond limitation. Yet you're here, conversing with us, Elena noted. If you're so beyond limitation, why care about our choice? The entity seemed to consider this. We have existed in the spaces between dimensions for eons. We have forgotten much of what it meant to be human. Your choice intrigues us. You chose to seal the breach rather than exploit it. We make our own destiny, Elena stated firmly. Whatever humanity becomes, it will be of our own choosing, not because it was predetermined or because we followed your path. For the first time, the entity's expression changed. Something like respect, or perhaps nostalgia. Perhaps this timeline will be different. It turned slightly, addressing someone off-screen. The agreement is honored. This branch may continue. The communication ended abruptly. The auxiliary vessels are withdrawing, Chen reported, sounding bewildered. Okeffer's console chimed. Captain, dimensional readings are stabilizing. The breach is sealed. She looked up, her eyes wide. And I'm detecting a transmission from the Solari flagship. It's a complete database of their knowledge about the interdimensional threats. They're sharing everything. Understanding dawned on Elena. They made a deal. With our counterparts. If we proved ourselves different, that Solari would stand down. A test, Zhao murmured. This was all a test. Helena returned to her command chair, feeling the weight of revelation. Set course for Earth. We had a lot to discuss with the Alliance leadership. As the Harbinger turned away from the ancient debris field, Elena gazed at the stars visible through the view screen. Somewhere among them, the remaining Silari were watching, waiting to see what path humanity would choose. Somewhere beyond the dimensional barriers, alternate versions of humanity have become something both greater and lesser than human. But in this timeline, humanity had chosen a different path, one of healing rather than destruction. And in doing so, perhaps they had altered not just their future, but the very nature of what it meant to be human across all possible realities. Captain, Communications Officer Rivera said, breaking the contemplative silence. Incoming transmission from Earth Command. They're requesting a status update. Elena smiled. Tell them mission accomplished. And tell them, we're coming home with a message for all of humanity. What message, Captain? Rivera asked. Elena looked around at her crew, the best of humanity, who had risked everything to save not just their own species, but countless others across dimensions they would never see. Tell them we've been given a second chance. And this time, we're going to get it right.